Hello everyone, WB here. That's right, in this video we're going to be looking at some of the interfaces, the administrative portals that you're going to have to be aware of should you be tackling that MD 102 exam, right? That is the Microsoft 365 Endpoint Administrator Associate certification. Boy, I almost didn't get that all out. What I want to do is just kind of introduce you to some of those interfaces that you need to be aware of if you're going to be successful on that exam. And as an added bonus, I'm going to show you how you can activate a Microsoft Intune trial, right? 90-day trial, 250 license, and that's going to give you the ability that if you want to practice some of the technologies, some of the skills that are measured on that MD 102 exam, you're going to be able to do that as well. What do you say, everybody? Go ahead. It's time. Let's dive in. All right, here we are, everybody. We are on my desktop, and again, this is to discuss a few of the different administrative portals or centers, as the admin centers, as Microsoft calls them, that you need to be aware of if you're tackling the MD 102, that is the Microsoft 365 Enterprise Administrator Associate certification. And one of the first ones I want to mention is what is known as Microsoft Entra ID. What we have here is the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. I'll go in and explain a little bit more about that. But this is, was formerly known as the Active Directory, right? Azure Active Directory. Well, Microsoft Entra itself is actually a suite of different technologies, and the identity or Microsoft Entra ID aspect, that's your Active Directory. If I'm going to go ahead and collapse this a little bit here so you can see, there's a lot of other things that are offered under Microsoft's Entra platform. Specifically, when we think about, again, what was formerly known as Azure Active Directory, that's the identity backing identity store, I should say, directory service for your Microsoft cloud-based solutions, right? So you're going to have to be familiar with this interface. Again, being able to manage users. One of the things that they call out are groups and stuff, but you'll see that because this is an endpoint administrative type certification, you're going to have to be able to come in here to devices, and you're going to have to be able to manage some of your devices depending on how you join them. It requires you to know the difference between registering a device in Microsoft Entra ID here versus joining a device. If you think about joining device, those of you that are familiar with the traditional Active Directory, think of that as a way as joining your machine to the Windows domain, but this allows you to join it to the cloud-based environment, and then IT gets the ability essentially to administer to it, and the employees get to gain access to some of the cloud-based solutions or resources from your tenant. So this is a little bit about the Microsoft Entra, the Entra interface. I would know a little bit about it, and specifically the focus here is the identity aspect of this. It's heavily called out on the MD 102 exam. Now, I'm going to hop over because we've got some other ones that we'll discuss here real quick. The Microsoft Intune Admin Center. I'm not going to go there right yet because what I'd like to also do is show you how in this video, show you how to, if you have created a free Microsoft Azure account, you get essentially the identity back, the identity store with it. And if you want to be able to try out and practice some of the Intune stuff that is in the MD 102 certification, in like a lab environment, being able to practice it for yourself, you can add that capability. I'm going to show you how to do that here, because I'm going to activate it for myself as well. And it's a trial. It allows you to use it for 90 days. But we'll come back to that here in a second. I'm going to go ahead also and skip over just briefly the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. This is another one that is very, very important, and you need to know a little bit about it and how to navigate around it as well, because it is called out when it comes to the MD 102 exam as well. Let's go ahead. We're going to hop over to the Azure portal. Now, you might be asking yourself, hey, this isn't an Azure certification. I realize that, I do, but there are some times When I can't tell you what they're going to ask you specifically on the exam, right? But notice that Microsoft Entra ID is here as well. And if I, whoops, sorry about that. There's my start menu. If you all didn't see that here, let me back out of this and see where we are. I lost my bearings. All right, there we go. So in the Microsoft Azure portal here, you got the default directory. What you're seeing is really a lot of the same stuff that you're seeing over in the Entra ID interface. Again, multiple different ways, just like there is in the Windows operating system, right? When we talk about, hey, how do I get to this location, this tool, this utility? And we know that there are more than one way to, there's always more than one way to get there, whether it's one of those old traditional run line commands, whether it happens to be just a point and click, 3 steps. Hey, I open Windows settings, I go to System, I go to About, and that's where I can find my system information, right? So something like that. It's no different here. So I just wanted to mention this as well, because you do have the ability to manage endpoint devices here as well. And depending on the devices that you have, I think I might have some stale devices. Yeah, I've got some old devices that have been in here. In fact, they don't actually exist in here, but they've kind of tattooed my my directory. So we'll have to go and I'll show you maybe in another video. Leave a comment below if you'd like to see something like that, actually managing some of these devices through the Azure portal. All right, so that's a little bit about your Azure portal here, another one of the interfaces that you should be aware of. The next one I want to go to is the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. When we look at the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, let me go ahead and back out here. Hopefully I don't lose my bearings again, make you all seasick out there. All right, so the Microsoft 365 Admin Center you also have to be aware of too. I will tell you that this is a launching point for a lot of different platforms as well. So if I wanted to get to the Entra ID, right, I wouldn't have to go to the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. I could just launch it here from Microsoft 365. And again, I won't bore you, but that would launch me back into the Entra, specifically right into the Entra identity piece, rather than logging in to the Entra Admin Center and seeing all of the options here. So again, as you see, there's a variety of different things, a variety of different interfaces that you'll have to have familiarity with. Right, and if we look through here, we can see that in Microsoft 365, the Admin Center, we can, also manage our users and our groups here as well too. We've got the ability to, really do a lot of different things here. Right, we can set up our domains here, and so that is another interface that you definitely should be aware of when it comes to tackling that exam. Now, one of the things that I did tell you that we were going to do just briefly, if you want the ability to practice this, practice some of the stuff that they require you to be able to, do the skills measure, check out one of my live streams that it is in the YouTube library there. Check it out under the live stream playlist where we went into, what are the skills that are measured on the MD 102 exam, and that can help you to kind of map back to some of the stuff that we are talking about here. Let's go ahead and with that, let's move over to a very important interface that you're going to have to be very familiar with when it comes to taking the MD 102 exam, and that is the Microsoft Intune Admin Center. Now, it does have to be set up. You can maybe rely on screenshots. And maybe I will put some screenshots here and I'll upload them to our Discord server. You can hop over to our Discord server, check out the link in the description, and it'll help you to study. If you don't have access to this interface, at least you'll be able to see some references to where we would do something like device onboarding or enrollment, right? Where would we monitor our Windows devices, right? So we can do that in the future as well too. Again, just leave a comment and let me know if that's something that you want to see. But let's go ahead and let's activate Windows Intune, Microsoft Intune. It used to be called Windows Intune. It is not Windows Intune anymore because it manages, as far as the MDM solution, mobile device management solution, what you need to know for the exam, it will allow you to manage a lot of other devices. Pretty much the major operating systems out there, right? We have the ability to manage Windows, Android, iOS, iPad OS, and Mac OS as well, too. All right, so notice that, let me go back to the dashboard real quick here so you can kind of see this. Notice that when I click the dashboard, it's telling me, hey, contact your Intune administrator to get access to this data, right? And it's basically giving me really no information here. If I look at that device information, it's going to give me, oh, hey, something went wrong, right? Unable to fetch per platform device counts, whatever the error there is. In order to be able to use this, you have to activate it. So the way we activate it here is I'm going to go down to Tenant Administration, right? And here in Tenant Administration, we're going to select that. All right. Oh, and by the way, for the MD 102 exam, right, some of the things that I had mentioned in our live stream about some of the things that you need to be aware of and know, are right here, right? We talk about remote help, the Microsoft Tunnel Gateway, Cloud PKI, and managing roles, as well as PIM inside of Intune. Well, look at that. That is right there as a whole bunch of your required objectives. But notice that it's telling me I don't have access, right? Well, I am the global administrator. I should have access to this. And the reason I don't is just because there really isn't any information to tell because I haven't activated or added it, if you will. Another example of the Intune add-ons, this is another one of those things that we talked about in the skills measured for MD 102 on our live stream cert talk was adding the Intune add-on. Boy, that's redundant. Well, you can see that's actually right here as well. And then there's a variety of things that you can add depending on the level of functionality that you need. Again, remote help right here if we want to enable that. Enterprise app management, you can see. Cloud PKI. So a lot of the different things depending on the level of and capabilities that that you require for your company. Now, one of the things I want you to see here is notice that this one right here is the Microsoft Intune Suite. This is what I want to activate, and let me show you. And you can see that it says available for trial or purchase. If you're going to purchase this, it's about $10. I believe we'll see here in a bit, but I believe it's about $10 per device. But there is the ability to do a trial. Now, the reason I'm saying the Intune Suite is because when we expand this out, all those little modular add-ons that we talked about are actually under this suite here. So this is included, right? You get remote help, you get the Intune Plan 2, endpoint privilege management, the app management, and the advanced analytics, cloud PKI. All of those are required skills on the exam, again, that we've demonstrated and talked about on Cert Talk. Now, in order to activate this trial, what we need to do is kind of scroll on over to the side here, and you're going to choose right under Try or Buy, you're going to choose View Details. Now, when you choose View Details here, you're going to get this blade that pops out. Notice what it says that is included, and this is important for you exam takers out there and those that you want to increase your skills and your knowledge around MDM solutions. And more importantly, this is a focus on Microsoft's MDM solutions. There's plenty out there, but you get the Intune Plan 2, you get remote help, you get endpoint privilege management, enterprise app management, the advanced analytics, and cloud PKI. Now, it maybe isn't so obvious what's in Intune Plan 2. Let me go ahead and I'm going to close this blade here, and I'm also going to go back over and kind of collapse this suite because I want to show you what is inside of Intune Plan 2, so we know what kind of capabilities, and does that actually map over to some of those exam objectives, those skills measured. And the very first thing that we see here is the Microsoft Tunnel for MAM. Again, another one of those skills measured that we mentioned insert talk there, right? Support for specialty devices. Here's another one too, because this is called out on the exam. That is the FOTA updates, the firmware over the air, and that is one of the required objectives, is to know how to configure that, right? And we can kind of go over here and we can see, yep, there's FTOA. It allows you to remotely update the firmware on supported devices wirelessly. Right, so you get a lot of the advanced functionality here as well too in the Intune add-on. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead. We're going to scroll back up. Remember that we are under the Microsoft Intune suite, and we are going to go ahead, come on over here, and it looks like I have to scroll. I got to zoom out here. Apologize. Try to make it a little easier to see out there for those of you that are like me and got 4 eyes and are getting a little older too on top of it. So we're going to go ahead and click View Details here. I'm going to back out of here and notice what it lets you know. It tells you that with this trial purchase, you can use the entire suite for 90 days with up to 250 trial users. 1 trial is allowed for each organization, right? And if you want to pause this, you're more than welcome to and read the rest. But what we want specifically is this hyperlink, and that hyperlink is actually going to bring us back to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Hint, 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 why I tell you on the exam you definitely have to know holistically these 2 interfaces and the Entra ID interface, because in order to activate the add-on, which again is a requirement, you will have to come in here and do this. So what I'm actually showing you is part of the training that I'm going to be putting in the new content that I'm making for some custom content that I'm working on for a company. All right, so here you can see, yep, and it is $10 per device, right? How many of these do you want, right? And it just goes up. Do you want to license it per year? But we're going to choose Start the Free Trial. And let's let it go ahead, and we'll let it run. It's going to have me put in some of my information here too. So, all right, there we have it, everybody. And through the magic of TV, we are back. Again, just didn't want to give you all my personal information. Right, that would be a crime on my own part here, but I have put in that information here. Notice that we have the Microsoft Intune Suite trial and the free trial, 250 license, 90-day term. We're going to choose Try Now. All right, and what it's going to do is it'll process the order, as we can see. And then what we're going to do after this has been activated, we will go back to our Microsoft Intune Suite. And notice it does say, yes, we are all set, right? So we're good to go here, and that we have activated our Intune Suite capabilities here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page because it could take a little bit for this to synchronize. Sometimes it's instantaneous. Nope, notice that it's telling me, hey, you still, you don't have access to information right now. And so there you have it, right? We've activated this. At this point, it is just a matter of waiting for that to synchronize across. Let's see here. Nope, it's still telling me that we don't have synchronization yet, right? But once this, once this gets activated, after that, we'll go ahead. Maybe I'll have another lesson on how to. Just kind of, get used to the interface here, especially when we talk about, like, for instance, tenant administration. This is where you can look at those add-ons. All right. And, yep. Okay. So it does say that we do have our trial is activated, right? So 89 days left in our trial. So it did finally activate. I just have to be more patient. Right, faster computers get, the less patient I get. So we now have an activated Intune trial, and we can start to use some of the different components in here. But that essentially will give us the access that we need. This account, you can see, it looks like I don't have access, so I'll have to log in with my other administrative account that is an Intune administrator. And at that point, what we can do is we can start to use the capabilities here. This account here does not. It's got role separation, so it doesn't look like I actually do have access, but that is okay because this was just about the level of access that I needed to activate the trial. My other account, which is an Intune administrator, doesn't actually have the ability to manage the features across the organization, which is good. We want role separation right there, right? Principle of least privilege or least access, depending on how you look at it. So, but there you have it. Again, some of the interfaces that we need to be aware of for the MD102, and if you do want to activate and start an Intune trial so that you can start to work with this, enrolling devices. I'm going to have another video where we're going to launch up Hyper-V. I'll show you how to create a virtual machine, attach it to your virtual switch that can communicate with your Intune platform, and we can do a Entra join, and we can see some of the things that we can do to manage this device. So a lot of great information to come. If you do happen to like what you see here, as always, I ask you to leave a comment, like, subscribe. Click that little notification bell, all the glorious stuff you have to do to maintain some visibility around new things that I have coming out. But I appreciate you all being here.